Welcome to Telehealth 101 for therapists. I'm going to give you a guide breaking down the essentials that you need to know in order to provide effective therapeutic sessions online. So, where does this come from? Well, I have been a therapist for many years. I've always been interested in kind of e-learning and online digital worlds and technology. So, for 10 years, I built my own private practice, and for a number of years now I've been helping other therapists through as a supervisor since 2018. So I'm going to talk about some of the basics about and some of the legal considerations and the tech stuff and everything that you need to know in order to deliver effective sessions online. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the growing world of telehealth, and what do we mean when I say telehealth? Telehealth is actually a huge kind of broad description of the services given through the medium of online technology, including medical appointments and certain medical sort of monitoring and all this kind of stuff. But particularly for this video, I'm going to talk about telehealth in the concept of giving therapeutic services online, just because that's my expertise and my experience and my background. But in terms of the telehealth industry overall, it's been growing year on year since 2017 by about 19% every year. And we did see quite a uptake in telehealth through the global pandemic, because quite a lot of services had to turn to delivering those services via online means. So I do think that there's been a sort of a growth in that since the global pandemic. What are people's opinions about telehealth? There was a survey done of about 1,600 people in the UK. About 71% said that they thought that telehealth was more time effective. So I think there's definitely a benefit from people in terms of the time it takes to travel to appointments and sit and wait, as opposed to telehealth, where you kind of connect and log in and have your session. There was also 61% that said that they felt like it gave them better access to higher quality care, because people had there was more options for the specialists, I guess, to kind of connect with more people. But in the same survey, 41% said that they weren't going to use telehealth or didn't want to use telehealth after the global pandemic. So it's a real interesting and developing market. I certainly do think there's a place for it. I have seen other research as well saying about the effectiveness of online sessions, and particularly around the therapeutic kind of style of services, saying that there wasn't any difference in patient outcomes between in-person sessions and online sessions. But I do still think that we're in a developing space when it comes to online health, and develop and kind of delivering sessions. There's still debate around telehealth. So if you are going to move into the online delivery of your sessions, then what's some of the things that you need to think about? I think first is about setting up that virtual space. So you're going to need to think about the professional setup, about microphones, lighting, and backgrounds. Like, do you want to use a background? Those sorts of things. I've done other videos on my channel about my setup here as a studio, so I'll link that video down below so you can go and have a look at all the technology that I have and I use. I use very simple technology, and I think it comes in at about under £150 for everything that I use. I've also done a video on creating your own professional Zoom backgrounds and where to find Zoom backgrounds, so I'll link that one down below as well, so you can go check out that and set up your own virtual space. Also think about the confidentiality of your space, so minimizing background noise and making sure that you have a confidential space to deliver your sessions in. And that's kind of setting up your visual space. Next consideration is choosing the right platform. I've done another video comparing Zoom, Google Meets, and Microsoft Teams. So I'll put that link down below so you can go and have a watch of that. And I talk about all of the platforms in a bit more detail. And I think the biggest thing about the platform is making sure that you feel comfortable with that platform and you know how it works and what does what. So my biggest advice around choosing the right platform is to play with them, and make sure, like, get some friends or some family on a call and kind of press all the buttons and see what happens and get familiar with that platform, so that then when you're using it with your clients, then you can take them through it with confidence and you can use it with confidence. And I think that's a really important thing to consider. The next thing is about ethical and legal considerations, about the kind of, where are you qualified to deliver services? Are you insured to deliver those services? I've seen from the supervision side of things quite a lot of therapists going, oh great, I can now reach an international audience. And I have to remind them that they need to check about delivering services to those people, whether they're insured and whether they're covered to do that. There's also the consideration about confidentiality and making sure that you set the client's space up for success as much as your own, and about informed consent on online sessions. Also, the technology now has quite a few options in terms of making that confidentiality element a bit stronger, like password protecting. So people have to put a password in, and also locking the meeting when somebody's in the meeting. So have a consideration over the legal and ethical considerations. Ultimately, we want to make sure that you're delivering sessions with respect, and the same sort of level of respect as you would if you were in person, and also kind of making sure that you can use the features that are given within that software to make sure that it is the best environment. I've created, when I was seeing one-to-one clients, I was doing online sessions, so I created a sort of setting up for your online session sheet that I used to send to clients. So if you do want that, then I'll put a link below and you can download that for free. And I've put it in a Word document so it's editable. So you can then change the branding and change the words for it to match your particular business. So if you want that, then go and have a look in the description. And by all means, you can go and print that off for free. Covers the sort of, helping the client to prepare for their session, make sure everything is set up to be successful for them. It also considers the technical issues. So some of the technical issues, you probably want to think about this too, but also that sheet that I created does cover these as well. Like, what is going to happen if you lose connection with the client, and explaining to the client what that process is and what might happen. And some of the other things are people not knowing how to use the technology. So if you've not seen a client before and you're going to use one of these softwares, don't presume that they know how to use it. You might want to add a little bit of time to their first session so that you can just show them around the system. I've had quite a few people who don't know how to switch on their camera or their microphone, or they don't want to switch on their camera. And yet the camera element to me is a really important part of rapport building and creating that session. So that's something that I insist on. And then some kind of technical issues around, how do you teach people how to use that technology well? And what are you going to do? What processes have you got in place if for whatever reason that might go wrong? I also wanted to mention HIPAA compliance, which is HIPAA. This is an American thing that came in around protecting how people's personal health information was handled. So if you are either in America or you deal with people in America, then you might want to have a look at HIPAA compliance and make sure that you're using the software, and make sure that you are abiding by the HIPAA compliance. We also have GDPR if you're in Europe. So GDPR is more around the handling of general information, people's data. So make sure that your privacy policy is up to date, and make sure that you're informing people about how you use their data. So if you're then deciding you're going to do sessions online, you might want to update your privacy policy to make sure you're letting people know. And the last thing that I just wanted to mention was around building rapport in that virtual space. Again, that's why I created that setting people up for their session document, which again, you can go and have that for free. The link's down below in the description. But it's about rapport building and helping people to feel confident with your services online. And I think rapport building and that therapeutic alliance is just as important if you're delivering online sessions as it is in-person sessions. So we want to get that right. So that means contracting really well up front. And it also means online, just taking that time to note people's body language, just like you would in a one-to-one room. If you are providing something like a hypnotherapy service or meditation service, it might be wise to ask the client to sit a bit further back from the screen so that you see their body as well as not just their head, so that you can get that kind of you can note their body language a little bit better. But there is an importance still of building rapport just the same if you're doing online sessions as you would if you were doing one-to-one sessions in person. So to wrap up the video, give you a bit of a summary then, a few things to consider. Number one is around the sort of setting up of your virtual space and making sure that you provide a professional, confidential space. Choosing the right technology. There's a video, like I say, if you want to go check that out, about which technology and going into those different technologies in more detail. Consider the contracting that you're going to do with the client. Consider that ethical and legal considerations from both points of view, and handling kind of technical issues and those sorts of things. And then just a note on building rapport and making sure that you still build effective rapport online just as you would in the one-to-one room. So in terms of resources then, I'll put some of the links to the other videos that I've got down below in the description. One is around choosing the right platform, another one about the Zoom backgrounds, and I'll also put a link to that preparing your client document that I created that's editable, so that you can have a look at that and then edit it for your own business that suits you. So I hope you found that useful. If you have, please do give this video a thumbs up. That would be really great. Happy to listen to your comments down below. So what have your experiences been of providing therapeutic services online? Please, in respect of confidentiality, don't share client stories, but by all means share your own stories or your own kind of experiences with using online therapeutic services. Or if you're new to it and you want to ask some questions, then that's absolutely fine too. In the comments, you can ask me questions, more questions, if I haven't covered something in this video. And finally, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Do subscribe to the channel if you like what I'm doing and you find these videos useful, and then you won't miss out. I release a video every week. And with that said, I will leave it there and I will see you next week for the next video.